how you do. Oh.
I'm looking over there.
Okay, which one? Over here?
There, at the camera.
Look at the camera, right?
Yeah.
We will look. I can't get it out. Your idea.
Idea doesn't have an R.
No, it doesn't. I don't know why that R came from. I think it's because I've been in St. Louis too long.
Idea.
Hello, my name is Patricia.
And my name is Alice.
And welcome to
the
Poom, 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 poom. Ooh, my titties.
Sorry.
Hello, my name is Patricia.
And my name is Alice.
And welcome to the Nurses Note. Hey guys, long time no see. We have our usual special guest here, which is my sister and fellow nurse who is here with us today to discuss a topic that you guys have been asking about.
We're here to talk about life as a new grad nurse.
So a lot of you guys have been saying that we've been addressing like a lot of student stuff, like nursing student stuff, but we have neglected to talk about what it is, you know, what happens once you graduate. I mean, as soon as you finish getting pinned, you walk down those aisles in the black, you know, ensemble, and you finish, you made it. You even passed the NCLEX, so we talked about that too. And now you enter the workforce. So we're here to talk about that today. But just in case you missed any of our other videos, I'm going to go ahead and leave a playlist down below where we talk about passing the NCLEX, we talk about obstacles, we talk about several other things, studying tips. You probably really want to check that out, especially if you're a student. Check out our Nurses Note playlist down below and that'll help you out. So right now, living life as a new nurse. Let's go.
Starting off as a new grad nurse, you guys are expecting orientation, right?
Orientation, yes.
Right. Orientation can last up to 6 months. Well, it depends on the unit. It could be up between 5 weeks up to 6 months, depending on
if it's a specialty unit.
Yeah, a specialty unit or an ICU unit probably will give you longer orientation. If it's like just a med-surg floor, probably shorter orientation. Regardless of whether it's 5 weeks to 6 months of orientation, you still will feel like, oh my gosh, I didn't learn anything on orientation and feel super overwhelmed. That's normal.
There's a large gap between learning in the classroom and practicing on the floor, because there's certain skills that people cannot teach you. People cannot teach you prioritization. People can't teach you time management. There are a lot of things that go into your daily as a nurse that really can't be taught, that just has to be acquired as you go through the job.
Exactly. You learn the basics in nursing school, but even in your precepting and your clinicals, you don't really fully encompass what it takes to actually be, you know, a nurse working on the floor independently. And it's a lot to take in. Once you get off of orientation and you're by yourself, it's a completely different world. You have to, you know, manage your time and priority and charting systems and all of that. So it's a lot to take in for a new graduate.
If there is one suggestion that I would put, or that I would give you guys when it comes to orientation, I really would admonish you guys to probably get yourself into a nursing residency. If you can find a nursing residency at a teaching hospital, or even if it's not a teaching hospital and they have a nursing residency program, it'd be really, really helpful. That way you can get a brush up of all your systems, especially if you work on a general floor. Get a brush up of all your systems. They put you in classes and things like that, and they also gradually increase your load, and I feel like that's really beneficial, so you're not slammed with the big reality that is the fact that you're a nurse now and you're responsible for your patients. They really just baby step you into the process, so the transition is a little bit more smooth. So if you're able to be accepted into a nursing residency program, I think that would be really beneficial.
And if not, you know, because sometimes that's not always possible, because
right.
Those spots are really limited. And if you are able to get just a regular nursing job as a new graduate, just, you know, make the most out of your orientation, ask a whole lot of questions, you know, make use of your preceptor, just so that you can make the most of that time and learn as much as you can in such a short amount of time.
Just like we said in one of our videos, I can't remember which one it was, you know, try to be as proactive as you can. If there are any skills that come up that you know you're not that, you know, proficient in and you're not 100% comfortable with, definitely volunteer your services. You know, it's it's better to not really do it right the first time, so you have an idea of what's wrong, so next time you do what's right. You know what I mean? Alice and I, to give you guys a short background, if this is the first time you're checking out one of these videos, we're both relatively new nurses. I'm here a little bit over 2 years. Alice is a little bit over 1 year. So you know, and we got a short orientation process. I got 5 weeks, Alice got 5 weeks. So we totally understand being slammed, and we had to do it the hard way. We didn't get a nursing residency program. Okay, we were slammed with that reality in 5 weeks, because 5 weeks is so short. You really don't get to see everything. So if there's another nurse that is giving blood and you haven't given blood before, I'd go with that other nurse. And I think it'll be beneficial to really volunteer your services for things like that, where you did not get to see or probably won't get to see in your short amount of time orienting.
Another tip that I would give to my new nurses is to always look up meds.
Yes.
You'll give a lot of meds. You learn a lot during pharmacology, but it's only like a limited amount. Like you go through like just the highlights of the important drugs. But you know, in the nursing world, you give a lot of the similar drugs based on different types of conditions. If you look them up before you give them, it'll help you remember them and know what it's for. Also, as a nurse, you should always know what a drug is for before you give it to a patient.
Right.
That's definitely something that you always want to know, and that's for, you know, safety reasons.
Also, it prevents you from looking a little, you know, looking stupid.
Exactly.
Because a lot of times, you know, they'll start new medications in the hospital, or you know, something they may have been on for the past few days, but they just forgot. So they'll just be like, wait, what is that? I don't take that. And you're like, oh no, this medication was started this day for this particular reason. It's for this and that. So it just prevents you from looking dumb, you know, for knowing the medication. I mean, safety first, but second of all, you don't want to look stupid.
Exactly.
Two things that you want to do before you pass your meds is you want to know what the med is for, and you also want to have your vitals prior to giving medication. A lot of people are on hypertension medications nowadays, and if they're not normally, they probably are while they're in the hospital. So that's something, have your vitals before you give medications. If your tech didn't get around to them, either hold the med or get the vital sign machine and get your vitals yourself, and then go ahead and pass the med. It's really, really important that you have your vital signs before you pass your medications.
Exactly, because you can have a patient who you know, you didn't look at their vitals and you have a blood pressure medication, you go look at it, it's 87/66. If you were to give that blood pressure medication, you're going to put them into like some sort of hypertensive crisis, and you don't want to do that. So it's really important for the safety of your patients. Alright, my next tip is about communicating with physicians. As a new graduate nurse, it's kind of a little bit overwhelming because you feel like well, I felt like when I was first starting out that, you know, the physicians have all this knowledge and they're expecting you to have a certain knowledge base, and I felt like as a new graduate, you know, I'm just starting off, so I don't know as much. But in communicating patient information to physicians or calling, I would always make just like little notes before I call the doctor. Sometimes they're, you know, just in such a rush that they'll be off the phone and hang up before you even have a chance to communicate everything that you wanted to get across. So I just make like a little note sheet about the, you know, bullet points of what I need to communicate to the physician that needs to be said, what I'm requesting, just so that everything that needs to be covered gets covered in a short amount of time. So that's just one of the things that I did to help me. If you're somebody who you know, can get flustered, you know, when somebody's like rushing you,
right?
Having everything prepared so you know what you need to say.
Along with that, something I always did is also to have latest vitals on the patient, because sometimes, you know, they'll ask you, like, if you're calling for pain medicine, like, what was the latest vitals? You know what I'm saying? And then now you're like, oh my gosh, okay, let me go look at the computer, and you're like, so yeah, give me a second, and you feel rushed, like you feel like you don't have a second to get yourself together. Just quickly jot it down, just like right, you know, next to your bullet points as to what is it that you want to discuss with the physician. Go ahead and jot down the latest vital signs in the patient, and also on the computer have up their med list, because sometimes they'll be like, you know, what is the patient what other medications is the patient on, like, you know, what other pain meds are they on, what are the antibiotics. Like if you're calling in with, let's see, a blood culture critical, and like, well, what you know, antibiotics down there, asking because they want to know if that antibiotic will cover that particular bacteria that's growing or whatever. So, then, you don't know, like, are they on Vanc? Are they on, clindamycin? Are they, so you have a list of their medications up there on the computer. That way you can just scroll, like, oh, they're on Vanc, or they're on Levaquin, they're on this, and like, okay, they're good, whatever, thank you. And then you can document, you talk to the physician.
Because sometimes you ask for, like, pain medicines, and they're like, well, what did they take at home for that? For their chronic pain, and then you're like, oh wait,
I don't know.
I
think they're on Norco. I'm not sure. Let me look. I don't really know.
Yeah. So you always want to have, prepared, with those key things in front of you. So it's just helpful, so that when they ask you those questions, you have the answers for them.
Next thing I want to talk to you guys, and this is kind of all over the place. Y'all know how we do, just off the top of the dome. I want to talk to you guys about cheat sheets. Cheat sheets are like lifesavers, especially if you live in like a new age hospital, if you work in like a new age hospital where everything is on the computer and everything is done electronically. There's still some value in writing things down. And so just because you can't, one thing I used when I was with my preceptor, and then she's like, because so-and-so's food's going at 100, so-and-so's food's going, I'm like, how do you know all that? And you eventually develop it where you just remember. But before that, honey, you better write it down, okay? And so that is something that I learned. Hold on, where did I put that? I actually just remembered that I have one of the ones I used to use when I first started. So just to kind of show you guys what it looks like. First of all, you guys want to just get the most important things about, the patient. The patient's room number, the patient's last name, their admitting diagnosis, their physician, do they have any lines? Where are the lines? Do they have any fluids going through them? What are the fluids? How fast are they going? Do they have any drains? Any JPs? Do they have any Foleys? Do they have any wounds? Where are the wounds? Are they stageable wounds? What are the changes that you have to do for the wounds? How do they get up and use the bathroom? That's a really important question. Is it per urinal? Is it stand by the bedside commode? Are they assist or are they independent? What else would you say? Let me see what else.
Covered them all.
Did I really? No, last thing, any tests that you have to do, any AccuChecks, Q6 or Q4, that's one that they like to do a lot at the hospital I work at right now, is Q6 bladder scans. How often you do the bladder scans and where you have to document it. Is the person on isolation? Those are some things you definitely want to highlight. And this is what my sheet looked like, and you guys, literally, this can look any way that you can. The nurse at the hospital I work at, I really like the way theirs is set up, where they have all the things listed here on the left, and then they have the patient's rooms at the top. So they just kind of go in and just kind of fill everything in. So mine is more in a list pattern, where I just have the color right here. This highlighted area is the name, room number, followed by diagnosis, admitting physician, and then all the rest of the stuff. And then a reminder section of just things that I need to do before the shift is over that I really need to know about this patient. And so that's what that looks like. And then I'm able just to do, like, copy it and then go to work and just fill in the really, really important things about this. The first hospital I worked at, the first hospital Alice worked at, we had S-bars, and there were sheets that we could print out that gave you a summary of what the patient, everything about the patient. So you just go through and highlight it. The hospital that I work at right now is heavily computerized. So is the hospital that Alice works at right now. And so it really helps to have a cheat sheet. Just going on with cheat sheet, since it's right here, is I also have a cheat sheet here for getting report from the ER. Since Alice and I worked on medical floors when we first got started, med-surg floors, well, technically I kind of still work on a med-surg floor. By the way, guys, Alice works ER now, and you guys know I'm a travel nurse, and I work on a med-surg transplant floor right now. So that's just a sidebar. But anyway, this is a cheat sheet for ER. I do have who I got report from and a good number for them. Name of the patient, diagnosis, date of birth, physician, signs and symptoms or their chief complaint, medical history, surgical history, IV site fluids, allergies, code status, their labs, most recent vital signs, and are they inpatient or OBS. Just some things you really do need to know about the patient before you come up. This patient comes up and sees you.
And just piggybacking off of the cheat sheets ideas, some people are more like a checklist type of person. If you need to have a checklist for your entire admission process, make one.
Is like right here, make sure that your admission assessment is done and charted, vital signs are done and charted, allergies are done and charted,
height and weight,
initial care plan, Falls risk, make sure that's done and charted. Make sure that all your armbands are on the patient. If they're a fall risk, make sure they have a yellow or whatever armband color other people use, an armband on. If they have allergies, make sure their allergy armband is on. And you know, anything that you need to address, any core measures you need to address, and any education associated with those core measures. One thing that we were talking about earlier as we were preparing for the video was the fact that you really do need to save your steps. What did you call it? I call it saving up my steps, and you were like, what?
Grouping care.
Grouping care slash saving your step. One thing that you guys will notice is that everybody wants your attention as a nurse, especially if you work med surg and that's the first type of floor that you're working on. Everybody wants your attention. The doc wants your attention. Physical therapy, especially work during the day, physical therapy wants your attention. Respiratory therapy wants, your attention. Another nurse wants to have a conversation about what happened with her and her husband. You know, one of your patients is feeling super tearful and wants you to be their psychologist for that night. It can get, everybody wants attention. So time is of the essence all the time, and even if nothing's happened right now, anything could happen. And so you really want to be prepared for just to be slammed. You want to expect the worst all the time, and want to make sure that you have enough time to accommodate whatever surprises may come during your shift.
Exactly. Most medications you could give them an hour before or an hour late. Knowing that information, if you know that you have to do a dressing change in somebody else's room and they don't have anything critical going on at this time, give them their medications last. Save that time and do that dressing change last, and focus on the other people first and get them done so that you have the time left to go do that, knock it out while you give that medication and do the dressing change in the same time frame, so you don't have to keep going back into the room. You know, even if you do get some free time, and you know, you always want to be expecting for that to change.
Right.
You know, you don't want to drag your feet charting just because you know that you don't have nothing exactly
to do right now
at this moment, because you will. Trust me. As soon as you sit down, somebody will call you to go do something else. When you get on shift, you know, you have to, when you walk into the room during report, be aware of what's going on in the room. If you see an IV fluid bag that's almost done, you should look at that IV bag and know that you have, you know, 200 milliliters left in it. That's gonna last you 2 hours.
Because it's going at 100.
Because it's going at 100. You know, so knowing that information when you're giving your meds, okay, you had shift report at 7 o'clock. It's now 9 o'clock. Let me go give that patient their meds now, so I can change that bag
at the same time.
At the same time, so it doesn't run out. So you're not running into the room to change the bag, then going here, then going to another room, then going back at 9:30 to give them their meds. You know, and you're just going back and forth.
Personalize your assessments. In the beginning, it can be really easy to take a paper and go,
do you have a history of COPD?
Do you have a history of congestive heart failure?
Do you have a history of MI?
Let me tell you something. Listen to your patients. They will give you more than enough information that you need. Sometimes you want to slow them down, but you know, keep your questions open-ended as opposed to yes or no, and you find out a whole lot of more information about them. And so I'll come into the patient. I know what the chief complaint was. That's what brought the patient in here, is rectal bleeding. So I said, so you were having some bowel movements, you saw some blood, and child, honey, let me tell you, I was in church on Sunday morning and I went to the bathroom and blah, 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 and they will go in. Trust me. Most of your patients will give you more than enough information that you need, and they really give you a comprehensive, and as they're telling you their story, they may tell you some other things that you would have asked in their assessment. Because you know, I first thought it was my sugar, because you know I'm diabetic, and then I checked my sugar and I thought, no, my sugar not low.
And also sometimes they will give you even more information that's not on your list that is actually necessary for you to know, to have a better understanding of that patient holistically, knowing the family dynamic, you know, knowing all those things. As a nurse, you kind of just throw yourself into the middle of all this when you walk into the room, and you know, knowing that they don't have a good relationship with, you know, their sons or their daughters, so when they come to visit, you know how that dynamic is gonna be, you know.
And there may not be things that you want to say, you know what I'm saying, while those people are there or something. Don't come in with any sort of expectation or your preconceived, you know, judgments of what a family should look like. You know, if you're about to start a Foley on a wife, you know, don't assume because it's her husband she should feel comfortable with him being there. You know, I would always ask, you want him to stay in here, or do you want him to, you prefer him to step out, whatever. And I've been in rooms where wives want their husband to step out when they're getting the Foley done, or some people like, child, that's my husband, he's seen everything, and they fine with them being in there. You know, some husbands will help, you know, wipe their wives, and some of them are a little bit uncomfortable with that. So always, you know, just try to be considerate. Like, is it okay? Always ask. It's always safe. They won't get offended when you ask.
Another tip I would say is, knowing how to delegate. It's really hard as a new graduate nurse to get everything done that you're supposed to get done, because it's a lot. It can be very overwhelming, and your care partners or your nurse techs or your CNAs
or whatever y'all
call them at your facility, they're there to help you. Make use of that.
Understand their scope. Your idea of what a nurse tech is able to do may be completely different at your facility. There's something called an advanced care tech. Come on, somebody. Yes, in the ER.
God themselves.
Yes, they can.
They can do everything.
They can draw blood. Okay. They can. What else can they do?
They can
unhook IVs.
Unhook IV, DC IVs.
They don't just take vitals.
They can read strips. Like, they have their own whole.
They can read strips. They have a completely different scope of practice. At my facility that I work at right now, they have care partners, and care partners can bladder scan, care partners can straight cath, and their scope of practice is a lot different than the traditional tech. So understand your the scope of practice of your tech, and utilize them as much as you can. A lot of, especially if you work med surg, a lot of the floors are short staffed, so don't spread them thin. I mean, if you can do it, don't be lazy now, okay? Don't be lazy. If you can do it, get up and do it. It'd be better for you. You get more experience that way. But if you're really in a crunch, utilize your resources, your charge nurse. If she doesn't already carry a load for herself, for the first floor we worked on, charge nurses didn't take patients. So she ain't doing nothing. Ask for her help. You know what I'm saying? And then utilize your techs as well.
Right. Also, learn from your techs. Like, if they have to go in to change a patient, Go in with them. Yeah. Because let me tell you, there will be a time where you have to do it by yourself. Yes. And you're going to need to know how to do it.
Yeah. Okay. So let me tell you, them techs have some tips.
They are skills.
Tips and tricks.
Okay.
On how to roll a booty over.
They done. Okay. So it's, when you go in with them, if you have time, because I know, you get busy, there's a lot going on, but if you have the opportunity to go in with them, help them, you will learn a lot, trust me, and it'll be to your benefit, because when you might be short-staffed or something and you don't have a tech, you'll be able to handle that without feeling like you're completely drowning.
Right. All right, so the final thing that we can say is be confident. Be confident in the information that you've learned. Hey, you made it this far. You made it all the way through nursing school. We know that wasn't easy. You also passed your NCLEX. You even scored your first job. Right, you made it here, and so you know something. So be confident in the things that you have learned.
Passing the NCLEX means that you have passed the baseline to be an effective, safe nurse. Mm-hmm. So believe that you are, but be okay with the fact that you won't know everything right off the bat.
Even now, we're not perfect.
Even now,
I've been there for 2 years.
Right, even nurses on our floor who've been there for 20 years, they don't know everything.
Don't compare yourself to other people. You know what I'm saying? It's not Nurse of the Year award type of thing. You go in and you do your best. You do right by your patients, and go in there knowing you have done everything you can. Try not to compare yourself with other people. Try not to get into the drama that can sometimes be, around the floor. Really learn the career path that you've chosen, and try to be the very best that you can be at it.
Right. And all in all, like, at the very least, just always remember to care. When you're dealing with your patients, you might not have all the answers, but go try to find that answer. Bring it back to them. You say, I don't know. Actually, I don't know the answer to that, but I can find out for you. What I've learned is, it's so interesting where, I've given a report, and they had, the nurse that was before me was an amazing, what we would call by our standards, an amazing nurse. But the impression that I left on the heart was so much more than what was done on paper, by the nurse before me, right, because it touched the heart. And let me tell you, that impression is a lot more long lasting and a lot more impactful than anything you could have done. All right, and that's it for our video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys feel more at ease knowing that there's other people who've been through it. We've been there. You'll get through it. And for all those people who are just starting new jobs, congrats and good luck. This is what I want you guys to do. If you guys are nurses as well, I want you guys to put your tips and tricks for our new grad nurses here, just transitioning from the classroom to the floor. What is it that you can tell them
tell us. I'm still new. I still need help. What are your tips and tricks for us now new to the field down below that you helped you, that you feel that will help them too? Maybe something that we didn't mention that you think that'll be really helpful. Hey, we're not perfect. We're just sharing what it is that helped us. So if you guys have any tips and tricks, definitely leave those down below. And if you guys have any video requests that you guys want to see, we will definitely come back and do them next. So this is one of the videos that you guys have been asking for a little bit. So I hope you guys really appreciated it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys are well and in good spirits whenever it is that this video meets you. Hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We'll be looking forward to see you guys over there as well. And we have a vlog channel. You guys want to see us over there? Check out our vlog channel. We will leave that link down below, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time in another video. And as always, God bless.